Tracy is with us in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Well, I own a veterinary practice. We do about $2.1 million in revenues, and I had a doctor that I worked with for 26 years, and then he had the audacity to retire at 75. And I've been
Can't believe he would do that to you.
Yeah, me too. After that many years, caught me off guard because it was kind of all of a sudden. And so, I hired another veterinarian who was really difficult, not nice to the rest of my employees, and very not great with my clients either. So he ended up costing us business, and then we ended up, terminating his employment about 2 months ago.
Good.
And now we're in search of another veterinarian, and there's a veterinary shortage. So there's a lot of the veterinary hospitals in our area are been purchased by corporations. And so there's a lot of difficulty in trying to hire another veterinarian because they're offering sign-on bonuses, and some of them are offering $250,000 for a 5-year commitment. And it's not that I couldn't provide that. It's just I want to know up front that I'm going to get something out of my money. And I talked to a recruiter, and he was talking about doing a retention bonus as opposed to a sign-on bonus after a year's employment. And I didn't know what the thoughts were on doing something like that.
It's a possible move. Here's the thing. I try to avoid competing with corporate America for team members. Corporate America sucks. They don't treat their people well. At the first sign of trouble, they cut them loose and drop them in the street on their head. The environment that you have to work in is politically correct bullcrap where you can't get any work done and you can't even talk to humans. And so I think small business people like you and me have an advantage because I think people that are real people that want to work for more than just money, they want reasonable pay. They want to be paid, rate. But if they're just trying to cash a check, they're just looking for a job in return to a transaction here, that's not who I want on my team. So someone who's motivated by a $250,000 signing bonus to work for crappy companies versus working for a family-owned and operated thing that has a soul and actually cares about the customer and cares about their team and actually treats them right, they're not someone I want on my team anyway if the $250 bonus is what gets them. So you're not going to get who you want. Who you want is the guy that retired. You want his heart and soul. You want some in a younger body, right?
Absolutely.
And that guy would have never worked for those companies you're talking about.
Right, and it wasn't really an option up until the last, maybe 8-10 years.
Oh, I know. It's gone very corporate. Dental has done the same thing. The dentist world is very similar, and it's just, but it's and a lot, other things have to. I mean, we face it in the tech world. Some people are paying tech people, $50,000 to jump ship and go over there, and some of our guys are like, we need to pay $50,000 to keep them, and I'm like, I don't want to keep them if that's who they are. I want them to leave. Good riddance, because if you're only here working for a check. Only. Now, I want to pay you fairly. I want you to make good money. I don't even mind paying you above market. But if your only motivation is how much you can get, a nickel an hour or more, go work somewhere else, then go work somewhere else. You're not going to fit in around here. You're not one of us because we're crusaders. And I think that working in your clinic would be a completely different experience culturally. I think the air would be different in your clinic than it would be in corporate clinic. Agreed? And I think that's your brand differentiator. And I think if you have a recruiter that's telling you the only way you're going to get people to pay $250 up front, then I think you got the wrong recruiter. Now, if you want to do some comp plans that are creative, where you're sharing some of the profits of the clinic with the person in addition to their salary, and that is their incentive, they feel like an owner, I do that. But that's because I want people to feel like owners.
And the only people that I've had honestly interviewing, they're all from Canada, it seems, because they can't afford to live and work in Canada specifically. And, I guess I'm having difficulty with like, well, I'm not getting, local U.S. vets to even apply. And I find, even with doing it through the American Veterinary Medical Association. So I don't, I've done Indeed, and the last guy we terminated trashed us on Indeed. So, it gives the corporate culture gets a negative vibe.
You can post an answer on Indeed and go, "We fired the guy. That's why he's trashing us."
See, they said not to get into that tit for tat situation.
I wouldn't get in tit for tat, but I would go, he's a liar. I fired him. That's why he's trashing me. I'd do that if you think that's keeping you from getting hires.
Well, it said something that one person found it helpful, and I had somebody I spoke to that was from North Carolina, and then I just didn't hear from her after that, and I don't know if the time frame corresponded with what he had said. So
I don't have any idea. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I mean, and again, if you're going to not come to work for me because of something you read on the internet, you're too dumb to work here. I'm perfectly okay with that. Because if you believe stuff on the internet, you're dumb. I mean, Glassdoor, you can't even prove that the person that said that worked there. Same thing with Indeed. They have no proof of that the negative review is an actual employee. So people just go on there and make up crap. They've done it to us. They do it to people all over the place. In the restaurant business, they've run into it everywhere because they cut each other's throat in the restaurant. So the restaurant across the street will post a bunch of negatives about the guy across the street, and it's not even a real employee. It's a competitor posting it. And so if you're so dumb you don't know that, then I don't really want you working here. I mean, if you believe everything you read about me, the stuff Dave Ramsey has done on the internet is amazing that I never did, by the way. So the same stuff with you. I mean, it's the same thing. So now, if you want to post an answer there, you can post it. I wouldn't get into a big, long thing because you're not going to solve it. But once again, if you go, all right, I didn't go to work for Dave Ramsey or I didn't go to work for Tracy because of what's on Glassdoor or on Indeed, good. You're too dumb to work here. You're not the kind of people I want. I want people with more wisdom than that. I mean, everything on the internet's true. Abraham Lincoln said that. So I don't know where you find them, though. I don't know anything about Canadian vets versus U.S. vets and all that. But my suspicion is this. We, for instance, in the tech world, there's a shortage there, too, of high-end, Dev 3 level and above programmers, people working on platform stuff, okay? And these are six-figure plus positions, like you're hiring. And we have found that a large number of those programmers are coming to us because they're sick of the way they've been treated in corporate America. The number of hours they're asked to work, the way they're treated like a number, they're treated like a unit of production, not a human. No one cares anything about their personal about them being as a person. You have all of that as a brand advantage. So if you can get the word out somehow to some of the poor docs that took those jobs in those corporate environments, they probably would love to escape.
Because that's what I've heard from some of the doctors who, had to pay the sign-on bonus back when they didn't stay for the 5 years or whatever the commitment was.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. Yeah.
And so, and that would be fair. It's just, right now, I'm running with relief vets, 3 days a week, just trying. And those are.
You know what? If I found a guy and he was $250,000 out, and he's $150,000 has to be paid back, and that's what you did. You paid the $150 there, and you had a solid contract. But you've got a person that you think is gold because they've learned their lesson, and they're not doing it for the signing bonus. You're just helping them escape. Now that I might do.
You mean help them out with that?
Yeah, I help them cover that. And maybe they're I don't know, down to 100,000, whatever, but just buying someone off the street with a signing bonus is bad medicine as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of like walking up to someone whose house is not for sale and knocking on the door and going, "Is your house for sale?" "No, but it could be."
Right.
"If you want to pay me a stupid butt price, it could be." That's not how you get a bargain in real estate, right? It's the same kind of a thing when you're recruiting out there in the marketplace. Oh, are you looking for a job? No, but I could be. For $250K up front, I might. Well, now you're just dislodging somebody that the next person comes along is going to dislodge with the exact same motivation. So you don't want to get in that game. But setting a slave free, I might set some slaves free if they're appreciative, and they tell the story 16 years later about how Tracy set them free, and it's the best move they ever made because they got to participate in the profits, and maybe they worked that maybe they worked that $100K or $150K back off somehow in the deal comp plan you put together with them. I would do that kind of thing, but just buying somebody, is your house for sale? Sure, for a right price. You want to change jobs? Sure, for the right price. I don't want that person. No thanks. And we've made that mistake about 4 times, and 4 out of 4 times it sucked. So I'm not doing it anymore. We told all of our recruiting teams, stop that. If you want to come work at a place that has a soul and that cares about you and that pays fairly and treats you like a human, and the first time things get bad isn't going to pee on you, then you got the right place. But if you're just coming somewhere for the money, you got the wrong place. And you don't want to set up a narrative where people are coming just for the money, because they'll leave you just for the money. Same thing. And they're motivated by the wrong things to create a good culture inside your organization. And that's what you run into. It's a problem. And yeah, but it's frustrating as crap right now because you're running short on staff, and so you're working like crazy because you got the one guy that you fired that was a doofus. You got the guy that retired, and so now I'm too short, and Canada's my only answer. Oh, man. Wow. In Tampa, Florida, I'm recruiting from Canada. I mean, this is not like you're in Detroit recruiting from Canada. Wow. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast.